Hello YouTube, Mr. Mellon here for guided reading. It's our last day of traditional tales this week. We're going to be looking at Goldilocks today, and we're going to be comparing it to a new version of Goldilocks and seeing what's the same and what's different. So I'll show you the original version of Goldilocks, and then I'll read you the newer version, and then we're going to see what's the same and what's different. And then you can have a go at that worksheet. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Gigabox!
This is the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Once upon a time, there was a little girl with golden curly hair whose name was Goldilocks. One day, Goldilocks was playing near her home when she saw a butterfly. She tried to catch it, but the butterfly flew away. So Goldilocks chased it right down the path and into the forest. Soon Goldilocks was lost, but then she saw a small house in the middle of the woods. Said Goldilocks.
I'm sure whoever lives here will help me find my way back.
Goldilocks knocked on the door 3 times. Knock, knock, knock. And on the third knock, the door swung open.
I don't think anyone is home.
Then she smelled a delicious smell, and her tummy rumbled loudly. So she decided to go inside. On the table in the small house were 3 bowls of porridge. 1 large bowl, 1 medium bowl, and 1 small bowl. Goldilocks was very hungry.
I'm sure whoever lives here won't notice if I have a little bit of this porridge.
First, Goldilocks tried a spoonful from the large bowl.
Oh my! This porridge is too hot!
Next, Goldilocks tried a spoonful from the medium bowl.
Ew! This porridge is too cold.
Finally, Goldilocks tried a spoonful from the small bowl.
This porridge is just right.
The porridge in the small bowl was so delicious that she ate it all up. Goldilocks was very tired, so she went into the living room and found 3 chairs. There was a great big wooden chair, a medium pink chair, and a small blue chair.
I'm sure whoever lives here won't mind if I rest for a little while.
First, Goldilocks sat in the great big wooden chair.
Oh my! This chair is not comfortable at all.
Next, Goldilocks sat in the medium pink chair. She sank deep into the cushions.
Ugh! This chair is too squishy.
Finally, Goldilocks sat in the small blue chair.
This chair is just right.
Just as she settled into the small chair, crack! It broke into pieces right under her.
Uh-oh. Maybe I should just lie down instead.
So Goldilocks went upstairs to a bedroom, where she found a great big bed, a medium bed, and a tiny little bed.
I'm sure whoever lives here won't mind if I take a short nap.
First, she lay in the great big bed.
Oh my! This bed is too hard.
Next, she lay in the medium bed.
This won't do. This bed is too soft.
Finally, Goldilocks lay in the smallest bed. It was the perfect size for a young girl.
This bed is just right.
Goldilocks pulled the blanket over her and soon fell asleep. At the same time, a family of 3 bears came home to their little house in the woods. They were very surprised to see that the front door was already open.
It looks like someone has been eating my porridge,
Said Papa Bear as he looked into his large bowl.
It looks like someone has been eating my porridge too.
Said Mama Bear as she looked into her medium bowl.
Someone has definitely been eating my porridge. It's all gone.
Cried Baby Bear as he looked into his empty small bowl. The 3 bears went into the living room to find out who ate their porridge.
I think someone has been sitting in my chair.
Said Papa Bear.
I think someone has been sitting in my chair too.
Said Mama Bear.
Someone has definitely been sitting in my chair,
Cried Baby Bear.
and they broke it to pieces.
And so the 3 bears went upstairs to find out who had been sitting in their chairs.
I believe someone has been sleeping in my bed.
said Papa Bear.
I believe someone has been sleeping in my bed too.
Said Mama Bear.
Someone has definitely been sleeping in my bed.
Cried Baby Bear.
And she's still here.
The three bears roared, and Goldilocks woke up very suddenly at the sight of three angry bears. The little girl jumped up out of her bed and ran down the stairs, through the kitchen, and right out the front door. Goldilocks ran and ran until she was out of the woods and all the way home. From that day on, she never ever went back into the forest, and the three bears never ever saw Goldilocks again. The end.
Remember to please like the video.
Okay, let's have a look at Goldilocks Rocks, the story of the three bears as told by Baby Bear. Let's see how this story is different from the original one. First things first, my name is not Baby Bear, it's Sam, and I'm not nearly as wee or small or tiny as people think. And Goldilocks, ever since she broke into my house, she's been one of my best buddies. It's true that she takes a lot of chances, but she's not a bad kid. At least no worse than me. Let me tell you the real story. It all started when I complained about my breakfast. Porridge again? I said. The next thing I knew, we were all out of the door for a walk. Dad, also known as Papa Bear, grumbled something like, "He'll eat it if he's hungry enough." At first I lagged behind. "Stay where we can see you, Baby Bear," called Mum, aka Mama Bear. I ran ahead. Not so fast, Baby Bear," called Dad. I stamped my foot. "My name is Sam." Then I ducked into the woods and took my secret shortcut home. Oh, so we actually got to see what the bears were doing while Goldilocks was sneaking in. Baby Bear doesn't seem very happy with Mum and Dad. Doesn't like being called Baby Bear. When I reached our house, I heard a voice. Someone was inside. I didn't know what to do. Should I run to Mum and Dad for help, or should I chase off the intruder myself? Baby Bear would have made a run for it, but not Sam. I peeked through the kitchen window. A girl was taking pictures with her cell phone. "Ah, this will teach little Red Riding Hood to double dare me," she muttered. Goldilocks does not lose at truth or dare. She paused in front of the porridge bowls. "Ew," she said. I liked her already. Oh, what does that mean? Does Baby Bear like porridge? Doesn't sound like it, and neither does Goldilocks. Goldilocks took a picture of herself in my dad's chair, then my mum's chair. "You want proof, little Miss Hoodie?" she asked. "Here it is." Next she took a picture of herself in my chair. When she got up, the chair stuck to her rear. She waddled around, she jumped up and down. Finally, she gave a chair a good whack, and it came off in pieces. "Oops," she said. "There goes my allowance." See, she meant to pay us back. Not that I cared. That chair was way too small for me too. Oh, it sounds like Goldilocks is actually quite fair. She's broken something, she wants to pay them back for it. She certainly sounds a lot nicer than the Goldilocks in the original story. But she shouldn't really be going into somebody else's house. Upstairs, Goldilocks slipped off her shoes, which was very thoughtful of her, and took some video of herself jumping on my dad's bed and my mum's bed. "I can't believe I'm doing this," she giggled. Now jumping on the bed is not allowed in my house. This was my one and only chance to get away with it. I tapped at the window. Goldilocks shrieked. "Let me in," I begged. "I won't tell." Goldilocks opened the window and we introduced ourselves. She apologised for breaking in. We were really quite civilised. Civilised is another word for being really polite and really respectful. It sounds like Goldilocks and Baby Bear are getting on quite well, to be honest. I wonder if they're going to make friends. They sound like they've been very friendly towards each other. I wonder what will happen next. Then we jumped and jumped and jumped and jumped until we heard my mum calling from the woods. "Baby Bear, where are you?" Goldilocks raised an eyebrow. "Baby Bear?" she asked. "Seriously?" "Never mind," I said. "Here's my plan." It sounds like they're getting on really well. It sounds like Baby Bear is going to try and help Goldilocks. I ran downstairs just as my parents were coming in. Baby Bear, Mum exclaimed. Thank goodness you're okay. There's an intruder upstairs, I said. You know better than to go around making up stories, Dad said. They sat down to eat their porridge, their cold, dried out porridge. I brought in my broken chair. See, the intruder did this. What a naughty thing to do, Dad said, wrecking a perfectly good chair just to get some attention. But I saw her, I insisted. Come on. I wonder how this is going to play out. I wonder if they're going to find Goldilocks. I wonder if Goldilocks is going to run away, terrified, like in the original story. Let's find out. I took them upstairs and showed them the messy covers on their beds. Baby Bear, you know that jumping on the beds is a big no-no, Mum scolded. But the intruder, I said, pushing them toward my room, and as soon as we reached my bed... Oh, I wonder what happened. I wonder what they're going to find in Baby Bear's bed. What do you think? What do you think they're going to find? Let's find out. I wonder if Goldilocks is going to get found out and she's going to be terrified by the bears. Boo! Goldilocks yelled. What happened next was priceless. Run! Dad cried. To our safe place, Mum screeched. And if we don't make it, I love you both with all my heart. I made sure they saw me chasing Goldilocks through the woods. In between her fake screams and my pretend growls, we traded phone numbers. So it sounds like that the bears are actually scared of Goldilocks. Mum and Dad were so impressed with my courage that they gave me everything I asked for. A bigger chair, spicy breakfast, burritos instead of porridge, and a promise to stop calling me Baby Bear. Well, there was one thing I didn't get. Can't I jump on the beds just once in a while? I asked. No, my parents said. Absolutely not. Hey, it was worth a try. That was a bit of a twist. So instead of Goldilocks being scared of the bears were scared of Goldilocks. Were there any other differences that you noticed in the story? Or anything that was the same? I noticed that Baby Bear made friends with Goldilocks, and Goldilocks is actually a lot more thoughtful in this story than the original story. She offered to pay. She was going to pay the money back for the broken chair. She took her shoes off to bounce on the bed. She shouldn't have been doing that anyway, but she was a lot more thoughtful than for Goldilocks in the original story. And it was interesting to see that she'd been dared by Red Riding Hood as well. So let's take a look at that sheet, and we'll see if we can look at the sentences and see if we can sort them to sentences that match up with the first story, the second story, or both stories. You're professionals at this now, you know exactly what to do. So I'll just read out the sentences so you know what they say. First sentence says, Goldilocks liked porridge. So that's the first sentence. The second sentence says, Goldilocks didn't like porridge. The first sentence says, Goldilocks snuck into the bear's house. The fourth sentence says, Goldilocks and Baby Bear were friends. The fifth sentence says, Goldilocks ran away. And the sixth sentence says, Goldilocks was scared of the bears. So it's up to you to sort those out into the shapes. Pause the video, give that a go, and then hit play once you're done. Okay, so hopefully you've sorted those into the shapes. So ones that were only in the first story, ones that were only in the second story, and some that might have been in both stories. So Goldilocks liked porridge. Well, she didn't like porridge in the second story that we just read, but she did like it in the original story. How about Goldilocks didn't like porridge? Yeah, I reckon that was in the second story. Goldilocks snuck into the bear's house. Yeah, I think both. Goldilocks and the Baby Bear were friends. That was in the second story. Goldilocks ran away. Well, she did run away in this story because Baby Bear was chasing her away, but pretending to chase her away. So if you put it in just the first story, that's right, because I suppose she was pretending to run away, but you might also put it in the middle for both stories. And Goldilocks was scared of the bears. Well, she definitely wasn't scared in the second story, but she was in the first story. Well done today, Year 2. I hope you had fun looking at those traditional tales. There were some really interesting different takes on them. And I'll talk to you soon again for a handwriting and spelling test. Bye for now.